Hey guys, what's up? And today I am going to be talking about the problem with the Brooklyn Nets and how Andre Drummond can save the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets really do need Andre Drummond. And also one player later in the video, but yeah, I'm going to be talking about the Nets really need to get Andre Drummond. I'm going to talk about why they can get Andre Drummond and how they can get Andre Drummond. But before I get into the video, subscribe if you want to see daily sports content and sports news. And also, most people that watch these videos are not subscribed. So that means so much to me if you could. And I'm trying to hit 900 subs before April. So that means so much to me if you could subscribe. But now to the video. So the Brooklyn Nets have kind of just not done that good. And they're sitting at 15-12, which is somehow third in the Eastern Conference because the Boston Celtics are 13-12. They're only fourth. The Pacers are 13-13, and they're fifth. And the Hornets are 13-14, and they're sixth. So the Eastern Conference is just horrible this year, and the Hawks are 11-14. The Knicks are 12-15, and they're in the playoffs. That's insane. But yeah, the Brooklyn Nets are 15-12, but their defense has been horrible. Their points against is 117.5. Yes, 117.5, which is actually the highest amount of any playoff team in the Eastern Conference or both conferences. And the play-in 10 seed Sacramento Kings are the closest to that with 118.4, the only team that's more, which isn't even counting the times before they got hard, which I do want to say they have the third worst defense in the league throughout the entire year. That's even when they didn't have Harden. With Harden, their defense has been absolutely atrocious, their offense absolutely amazing. Their defense absolutely atrocious. Now, they're going to need to fix this at some point. They can't have Harden, Kyrie, and Durant dropping 30 and them still losing. That's not a winning formula. A winning formula is having good defense and good offense. The games with Harden, ever since they've had Harden, 115 with the Magic, points against, 123 against the Bucks, 147 against the Cavaliers, then 125, 124 against the Heat, good defensive performance, 85 against the Miami Heat the next game, very good defensive performance, but they only scored 98 in that game, then 128 against the Hawks, 125 against the Thunder, 149 against the Wizards, which that game was very entertaining, 120 against the Clippers, 123 against the Raptors, 124 against the 76ers, 122 against the Pistons. Then they held the Pacers to 94, so very good offensive games. They've only had 2 games that they've had Harden where they've held opponents to less than 100, which is absolutely horrible. I mean, you expect to hold teams to less than 100 most of the time. And they've only had 3 games where they've held opponents to less than 120. So this defense needs to find out how to do something. But Andre Drummond's the really worst number we're talking about. Andre Drummond would be huge. He isn't averaging the stats that he usually does. 17.5, 13.5, 1.6 steals, 1.2 blocks. Of course, horrible efficiency from the line and 3, but still almost 0.475 from the field. So he's still averaging good stats. And it would just help because DeAndre Jordan's the starting center now. He can't be a starting center. Now, he isn't horrible. He isn't absolutely horrible, but his defense, he sits in the paint, he can't do anything. His defense in the paint isn't even that good. While he's technically offensively efficient, we don't care about the offense when we talk about that. You have KD, Kyrie, and Harden. Joe Harris, a great scorer. We don't care about the offense. This defense needs to find out how to do something. Jeff Green, he's doing pretty good, but he's a nice forward. You need a center. DeAndre Jordan isn't a center. I like another stretch forward. So Andre Drummond as the center wouldn't solve all their defensive problems, but it would definitely mask a lot of them. Definitely help just help prevent a lot of the defensive problems most of the time, because Jarrett Allen was the big piece that they're losing. He's a really good center. He's one of the best shot blockers in the league, and though Andre Drummond isn't Jarrett Allen, it would help so much if Andre Drummond was on the team. Now, what would it take to trade for Andre Drummond? And you don't really have a lot of picks, but if you're the Cleveland Cavaliers, you don't need them. You have like a million centers. But they have Jarrett Allen, JaVale McGee, Marquise Bolden, Taurean Prince, Kevin Love, Laurie Nance, Jetty Osman, Dean Wade, like all the fourth and centers. So probably I'd expect like Bruce Brown, potentially Timothy Luau Cabru or Tyler Johnson, maybe like a second round pick, maybe a couple seconds. So probably not that much. And then the next person who I would want, which I'll talk about less, is Robert Covington. Now, if you're asking why, it's not because of offense. He's a 3-and-D guy, so he can stretch the field, stretch the court, which would definitely help a lot. But I don't know how they're going to get him, which is the problem. But Robert Covington would help so much. Now, his offense has struggled this year. 34% from the field, 30% from three, but he would definitely take way less shots. But it would really just be his perimeter defense, which he's a great defender. His perimeter defense would help so much. Now, for the Portland Trailblazers, I don't really know what would help them. They'd probably get a few seconds, maybe like 1 or 2 seconds. But the Trailblazers are contending right now. They're 15-10. They're 5th in the Western Conference. But they don't really have a lot of good centers, because Enes Kanter is good, but you probably want a backup center. Yusuf Nurkic is still out for a bit. And yeah, I'd probably just maybe set them over Reggie Perry, potentially DeAndre Jordan, and Tyler Johnson or Timothy Luau-Cabru. You might have to send over Landry Shamet, but for Robert Covington would help so much. But yeah, Andre Drummond and Robert Covington are the Brooklyn Nets. Like that's who they need. The Brooklyn Nets need Andre Drummond or Robert Covington. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Tell me in the comments if you think the Nets will trade for Andre Drummond. But yeah, they definitely need Drummond. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Be healthy, stay safe, and peace.